Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, sponsor Nishma Sam B'Yaakov Shalom Eliyah Basitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Hey. We're starting Daf Dal Amud Beis in the bottom, the last line. Tonu Rabban, Dinim Mominos B'Shloisho. Dinim Mominos should be with three. V'im Haya Mumche L'Rabim, but if he's a mumche, he's professional, he's very knowledgeable about the halachas, so that afilu yechidi can do it even on his own. Big discussion over here in the Mishrainim, not going to go into it, but Machlekes of Tosis discusses it. Is this going according to Manda Amar that we learned earlier regarding the Iru Pashir's Kosov Khan? In other words, we saw there was two psukim that told us how you're able to you learn from Elokim that says three times in the Parsha. So according to Rashi says over here, so Rashi learns, I don't have a Elokim, because I can't be less than three. Impossible. Toy says learns differently. Toy learns it's a din derabanan. Rabbanan allowed to have one yochid in a case there is a mumche. Says the Gemara, Amar Nachman can go no, someone like me, dan dini mamonis beyechidi. Why? Because he's a big mumche. What does it mean? I learned, I know, meaning I learned from Rabbeim, I have my own svara, I can come and add more things on my own, as Rashi says, and I also got a rishus to do it. I got permission. Without rishus, it doesn't work. Do we say that din is a din even without rishus? Segma Toshma de Marzucho Beidam Nachman Dandino Vito. Marzut Beidam Nachman, he did a din and he made a mistake. Also, Kamei Avesef Omaleim Kiblucho Alayu. If the Bailedini accepted you to judge, Lo Yisishal, you don't have to pay for your mistake. For your law, Yizil Shal. Shemamino Kilo Noket Rishuso Dina Dina Shemamino. So according to our Gemara, the Gemara says, you see from here that your din is a din. They have to accept you in order to be a dayon, but even though you made a mistake, you don't say that the din is not a din. Right? And as Rashi says, you don't take the din back. Someone brings a raya, you don't have to get permission to do it. Amar Rav, Hayman de Baila Maiden Dino Vito Mibaila Mifter. Person who's going to do a din, and if he made a mistake, he doesn't want to pay. So he doesn't want to be responsible to pay for the mistaken din. Lishko Rishuso Mibei Rishkaluso. If you take Rishuso Mibei Rishkaluso, the Rishkaluso is equivalent to the king of the Jews. You get permission from Rishkaluso, then you are exempt. Chelam Shmuel Lishko Rishuso Mibei Rishkaluso. Take Rishuso Mibei Rishkaluso. Pshito. So like this. Taking Rishus from Bavel to Bavel. Also taking Rishus from Eretz Yisrael to be a dayan in Eretz Yisrael. And from here, Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, man. Why? Here, the heads of Am Yisrael are called a Shevet. And the ones in Eretz Yisrael are called Mechoykik. What is it talking about? Kedetanya. It says in the Brayso. Lo Yosu Shevet Miyudo. What is a Shevet? Shevet is Loshen Srora. What is a Srora? Shevet, why? That a Shevet is like a stick. You hit with a stick. So it's Loshen Srora. So let's Shevet Miyudo. Elu Rosh Galuya Shebavel. These are the ones in Bavel. Sheroidim in Yisrael B'Shevet. They hit with a stick. Umechoyki remained Raglov, it says by Yehuda another Lashon. Mechoyki, one stop between his legs. Elu bnei bono shel Hillel shelamdin toyer berabim. That's the children of Hillel Azokin, which is in Eretz Yisrael. They teach Torah. That's called Mechoyki, goes to teach Torah. It doesn't say Shevet, they don't have the stick. So what do you see over here? That when you have in Bavel, you have more authority than the one in Eretz Yisrael. Because in Bavel they have the stick. And Eretz Yisrael they don't have. So like one Mela says, that's why if you're in Bavel, you get Rishus, Avadeh works for Eretz Yisrael. But what about Eretz Yisrael to Bavel? Toshu the Rabbi Chana Dandina Vitor. Rabbi Chana made a mistake. Also, can be the Avchi, care for the Avchi. Only Kiblucha, Lai, Lois Shal, and Beloy Zil Sholem. If they accepted you don't have to pay, then you have to pay. For Rabbi Chana Rishus Avanoki, your Rabbi Chana got his permission. Shvamino, Meosam La'achol, Loimiani, Shvamino. Right? So, even though you got permission, why does he have to pay? He has to pay because even though you got permission, it's from year to year, from year to year, does not work. Right? That's what he said. So the word says, concludes, Bavel, it's stronger than Eretz Yisrael, and that's it works that way. Now the Tosfos brings here a question that we do find. We learned Gemara Psachim. The Bavel Eretz Yisrael, Anun Kefinan, we are Meshuba to them. So says the Tosfos, that's regarding Isser V'Eter, because Eretz Yisrael and Murs are smarter, as we learned in Bo Basra. In Bo Basra, we learned that Vir Eretz Yisrael Machim. They're smarter in Eretz Yisrael. So Isser V'Eter, you go based on them. But in terms of course, moment to go and be able to take on money, you have to have the strength of a Shevet, and that's Bavel more than Eretz Yisrael. Bavel, they have more like Malchus, like they have more kingdom, more power of a king than in Eretz Yisrael. We can Be'ez Hashem talk about this more in the Shir Moshav on the Daf, but there is a thing that we learned here that we're talking about two children that had Yehudas. We learned in the previous parsha, this knowledge is past parsha. We learned that Yehuda had two sons. One son is Peretz, and one son is Zerach. And the kingdom goes from one. And the other one has, there's two parts of Yehuda cover these two children. Says the Gemara, V'loi mehani, you want to tell me it doesn't work when you have Rishus of Eretz Yisrael? When he had a fight with Beresh Kaluso, I didn't take Rishus from you. I go praise of Rabbi Mari. Mirav, Rab Mirav Chil, Rav Chil Mirebi. Meaning each one can give anybody who got smicha can give a smicha to the next one. So I got it from Eretz Yisrael. I didn't get it from Baba. I don't care about you, Rish Kaluso. So the Gemara b'milsa de almo ukim lu. This no, it really is not true. Meaning, really, if you get permission Eretz Yisrael, it does not work in Chotzarts. But he just said something to be able to push away Beresh Kaluso. So why did Rabbi Chana take Rishus? Doesn't help in Bavel. It does help for the cities which are outside of Eretz Yisrael on the border. So when you go to Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, in Bavel you need to get another smicha. You know, the Havdil, you get the bar in Eretz Yisrael, does not work in America. It does not work in Bavel. But it does work for right outside of Eretz Yisrael. So that's why it was effective. Say, well, my Rishus, what's the case of the Rishus? Kavanochi Rabbi Chana leBavel. Rabbi Chana get the Bavel. Omerli Reb Chia leRebbi ben Achi Yored leBavel. So Reb Chia tells Rebbe, my nephew, the son of my brother, is going to Bavel. Yoyre, he's able to do Yoyre. And he answers Yoyre. It could be Moyre. Yodim, can you do Dinim? He says Yodim, can you do Dinim moments? Yatir Bechoyres, can he come and look at the Bechor to see if he has a blemish? Yatir. This is, by the way, the lashon of smicha till today. Yoreh, yadin, yadin. But really, the mockers from this Gemara, it's a question and answer. Yoreh, yadin, yadin. Kavinach is Rab leBavel. Now, the first one was Rab Bar Chana. This is Rav. Omerli Reb Chia leRebbi, very similar. Reb Chia tells Rebbe, but here it says, Ben Achoisi Yored leBavel. My nephew, the son of my sister, is going to Bavel. Yoreh, can you do a raw? Yoreh. Yadin, yadin. Yatir Bechores, can he allow blemishes of Bechor? Al Yatir. Now that wasn't explained in a second why. The Gemara first of all asks a different question. Why, when Reb Chia is talking about Rab Bar Chana, he's saying the son of my brother. When he's speaking about Rab, he says the son of my sister. Rab was also son of his brother. How do we know? Maybe he'll tell me he was not his nephew from his brother's side, only from his sister's side. We learned, Ivu is the father of Rav. V'chano, that's the father of Rab Bar Chana. V'shilo, Umarto, V'Rabbi Chio, these five. They're all the son of the same person, Abba Ba'acha Karsel. They're all brothers. So Rabbo, the son of Chana, and Rav, the son of Ivu, they're both nephews of Reb Chia from the brother's side. So why does he call Rabbo my my nephew from my brother, and Rav he calls my nephew from my sister. So the Gemara very simple. Rav bar Chud Rav bar Chossi. Rav bar Chad bar Chud bar Chossi. Rav was his father was the brother of Reb Chiya, like we just said, but his mother was the sister of Reb Chiya, so he had both. He was a double nephew to Reb Chiya. He was a nephew from his brother's side and a nephew from his sister's side. But Rabbi was only from his brother's side. So to Rabbi called him my nephew from my brother's side. Rav, he had an addition, it's also the nephew from the sister's side. The Bais him another explanation. Second one that we have with base. Al Shem Chochmaso. The reason he called Rav the son of my sister, not because of his son and the sister, or maybe he was, but maybe the reason he emphasized it is because of his Chochma. Chochma, he called it sister. So just to be Miramis, he's very Chocham, he said Bar Achoisi. That's what he said. Torah mentions here something very interesting, just to put into this point, that we just learned Bobasu, we had a big sugis of Rabbo Bar Chana. This is Rabbo Bar Chana. So it's two different people. Rabbo Bar Chana is the son, Rabbo Bar Chana is the grandson. That's what's called Bar Chana. He's Bar Chana. He's the son of Chana. Rabbo Bar Chana is his son of Chana. And this is one generation before. And this makes a lot of sense because Rabbi Bar Chana is a Talmid of Rav. And Rabbi Bar Chana, as we see over here, is not a Talmid of Rav. So that goes very well with Tosfos that says over here, it's two different people, Rabbi Bar Chana and Rabbi Bar Chana. Says the Gemara, we said by Rav, Yatir Bechuris al Yatir. You cannot be Matir Bechuris, you can't allow the blemishes of Bechur. My time, what's the reason? Maybe he's not so smart. He just said he's very smart. He wasn't so, he wasn't so familiar with the blemishes of Bechur. Says the Gemara, for 18 months I lived, I grew with a shepherd. To know the difference between a permanent blemish and a temporary blemish, because to know the din of the Bechur. He wanted to give cover to Rabbi Chana. So therefore, he said Rabbi Chana will have the ability to be Matir B'Cheres and Rav not. The opposite. Rav was too bucky. He knew too much. What does it mean? The Rav became a mumit fei. He knew moving very well. He's the going to say a mumit is mutter. Rav was such a big mumchi, he was such an expert, he can really differentiate between two things that look exactly the same. We can't do that because we don't allow Rav to do it because the people will not know the difference. And they come and learn from him. Something more, he says he can be Oriol. He knew why he needs a Shusa. Why the Mishka? Why it's the Mishus? So there was a mice we learned. The story taught us you never can be married without having a permission. What was the story? We went to a place. So he's saying betum. He says people that are making their dough, they're making a betum, meaning they want to do a fresh challah, and they were doing the dough betumah. So he told them when others were preparing the dough. They did a betum, and they're not choshen. Will come tell them they can't do chal. What's that? There was a Talmud that came over here. He taught us the water that comes from ptsoim. Ptsoim means still water.
Marsh.
What?
A marsh.
A marsh. In other words, water. It's not a river. It's not a moving water. It's water that's standing in one place, right? So it's like a lake, right? You have water in the lake, so maybe that's not machshir. So if you put the water into the dough, it doesn't make it kosher kabel tumah. So that's what we have no problem touching with tumah. For who this Talmud didn't say maybe tzoyim, maybe beitzim dorish lu. He said egg water doesn't cause tumah, but other water, every water does cause tumah. They made the mistake and they thought instead of saying made beitzim, said made betzoim. The Torah says over here it's not such a big mistake because he was talking about made batzim. Batzim is lashon bitza, right? When you have a swamp, so that's why it's so similar. They also made a mistake because it's a clear Mishnah. Because it says in the Mishnah, made karmion, made pigo, psulim, prishehem, made betzoim. It says that made karmion, made pigo, they're pasul because it's made betzoim. So they understood what does it mean. You know something that be chatos psili. It's possible to use a par adumo. Achshuri nami lemachsh. It doesn't cause extra tumo. Veloi also we have chatos beimayim chayim. You need to have water that comes from a spring. Achshuri kol du machsh. Any water is machsh. So what happened? They saw the Talmud. He knew he was a very big Tanakh Chacham, but he did not know how to teach. He taught and they made a mistake. That's why they got a hira that the Rebbe will come and check that he knows how to explain himself. So it's not enough to know. You have to know also how to teach. He came to this place. You're allowed to put wheat. Liltos means to put wheat into water in Pesach. You're not chodesh the chametz. Ramani the Minsuri koch. Isn't Ramani the Minsuri here? Tanya Talmud al Yoir Aloch v'Koraboi. You should not pass in front of a Rebbe. And then can I roch him in shlosh prasos? Can you machni Yisrael like the machni Yisrael is 3 prasos? Then nobody should do hoiro in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. I didn't realize that he was here. Now here, okay, let's first of all see the story, then we'll see what the shaykh is. He sees this person in the graveyard. Aren't you a kohen? What are you doing in this verse? He said, I am the son of a kohen. But he had gaivo. He married a grusha. And now I'm not a kohen anymore. Right? That's what it was. So Yimele, what do you see over here? That the grusha, the son of the kohen was a grusha, and that's why he was in the base class. What is that? What is the shaykhs to our sugya? So he says that the reason why it is because we spoke about tumo, right? People are not careful with tumo, so we mentioned this as well. That's what Rashi brings. Rashi brings based on the Yerushalmi Maseches Shvis that this case of Beis Kvaros wasn't Reb Chia, was Rebbe. The two stories happened with Rebbe. Rebbe, what happened was an Akkoy. Akkoy is half Eretz Yisrael, half Chutzlaretz. So what happened was he went to this area in Akkoy and people were doing the tumo, even though it's Eretz Yisrael, he told them that's wrong. And then he saw somebody going to the Chutzlaretz part. He says, but the Chutzlaretz we have a din of Beis Kvaros. He now should not be Chutzlaretz. That's why these stories come together. Says the Gemara, Pshito, what is it right now? Pshito, Lepalgo, what does it mean Lepalgo? Lepalgo means they give a rishus for one thing and not for something else. So we just learned by Rav, they allowed Rav to be moyred, to be done, but not to allow blemishes of a board. Al-Bchor. Al-Tnaimai. What about they give him a condition? I mean, they give him a limitation of time, how long he could be a moyred. Yeah, we found, he told Rav Shemin, you have a shus to be a Yirah until you come back to us. Something more now. Gufo Omar Shmuel. Beis Shedonu Dinem Din. Two people do a din, it is a din. El Shadiko Beis Din Chatzuf. Because it's not appropriate. Yosef Nachman Komal Nash Schweitzer. Nachman quoted it. Eisi Rav Nachman. Filu Shnayim Mizakim or Shnayim Michayim. You have a Beis Din of 3. 2 out of the 3 say Zakai. Or 2 out of 3 say Chayav. You're down, and once I don't know, so you have more, so you have 3 people paskin. Why do you need to add more? You have 3 to begin. 2 said is chayav. 1 said I don't know. So you can ignore the 1. You have 2. 2 works. So the more shani also the mikora daita the loso yasivi. Here, when you start has to be 3. So you need to have the opinions of 3. If 1 says I don't know, that doesn't work. But if the start is 2, then it will work according to Shmuel. So again, also the Mikra dies that Losi Yasivi. They get to sit down as 3. Hochalava died that Losi Yasivi, here they sit down for 2. ACM Shumim Lil Oimer, Hadin b'shloisha. You started doing 3. Upshara b'shtayim. And you could do a pshara with 2 people. You know what a pshara? Pshara means a compromise. We're going to see more about it next time. The power of pshara is more than that. If you have to do a din, they could say, we're not interested, we're not accepting this din. You can't, if they accepted the pshara, they can't go back. So what do you see over here? See that din, you need to have 3. Maybe we'll say that it's a machlekes. Ravo say that 2 that did the din is that din. So the more Gaber Karamis. So says Rashi, first Rashi in the Talmud. Rabbi Avoh the Shmuel saw a pligi Rabbanan Leidim Shimon Leo, and we hold that there's no machlekes. According to Shmuel, will be a machlekes, and he holds that times you're done, Tineim. Okay, so we'll stop over here. This daf.